To be clear, I have a coffee out of the way, off camera, that I will be grabbing as soon as I get this box off the table. Hey, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co, and this is a different kind of unboxing. A totally different kind of unboxing. It's a kind of unboxing, well, let's just explain things. So, short version is, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co, YouTube channel Board Game Co. I'm also Alex Radcliffe from the now closing company Board Game Co, where we bought, sold, and traded used board games. If you missed it, I did a video 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, depending on when this goes up, talking about that company closing down, the process, a little bit of a backstory and history, and there'll be more history if you're still following the History of Me series, where I'm 2 episodes in and working on the 3rd one eventually. But in any case, basic idea is I had a retail company that sold used games, and is currently closing down. Here and there, I get boxes of games from there for whatever reason, usually to add to my collection, and this is the most recent shipment of that. I get them fairly infrequently. The nice thing about backing Kickstarters and reviewing games is I have too many games as it is, which is a good problem to have, but not like it's a first world problem. I'm not complaining here. But the practical reality is I get one of these boxes, I don't know, maybe every 7-8 months, something like that, from the warehouse to grab whatever stock I can as of whatever particular games I want. I thought it'd be fun to open these up, considering this might be the last or one of the last shipments I ever get. I thought it'd be fun to open this up and go through what I got, what's in here, and why, and just covering a little unboxing of gathering used games and seeing how this plays out. Anyone who's ever traded with Board Game Co knows what this feels like, with just giant boxes of used games coming your way. And so we're going to go ahead and open this up over here. We're going to go ahead and open this, taking off the tape, making sure to get all this taken care of, and then we're going to start the process. I might just put this on the floor. It might be a drop easier, and also I need to get this box on the table ASAP in order to get my coffee in. Let's go ahead and pull the first game out the top, and we'll just talk about what we have and why. So, first of all, we have Star Wars Frontiers. I do like the idea of putting this box on the floor. I think it'll make my life a lot easier. Let's put the box on the floor, and then we'll talk about Star Wars Frontiers, why it's here, and give me 1 second. Okay, that's box 1 out of the way. Box 2, we're gonna just kind of awkwardly shove into the corner, and I told you this would happen. We're gonna grab my coffee, along with my Ember mug little platform over here, so I can actually have coffee while we do this. This is very important. It's morning time. A lot of my videos are still filmed either early in the morning or late at night, because even though the kids have camp, and then other times they have school, it's still easier to get things done when people are asleep. So coffee is my point. Star Wars Frontiers. Star Wars Frontiers is here because of the fact that I recently played a few deck builders. I played a few deck builders both for myself as well, let's go walk through it. So I recently played Ascension for the first time. I was on a trip, I was visiting Devin and Professor Meg, who's a big fan of Ascension, showed me Ascension as my first time playing Ascension ever. And I liked it. I did like it. It's not Dominion to me. It's not. I still prefer Dominion. Dominion is my go-to deck builder, which is a game I then taught Professor Meg. I taught Professor Meg Dominion, and she had the opportunity to dive into that and see how that is. And now I want to show her Star Realms, because I think Star Realms, to me, is one of the few games that has a card row. One of the few games that has a card row of cards coming out, as opposed to a fixed market. It's one of the few deck builders that has that I particularly enjoy even so. And so I grabbed Star Realms Frontiers from the warehouse because I don't currently have a copy. As much as I do enjoy Star Realms, I find that I do tend to gravitate towards Dominion as my go-to. And so I figured it's not bad to have this in hand to be able to play through Star Realms and see how this goes, mixing up and matching the various factions, because I think this is a fun version of Star Realms. And so we have Star Realms Frontiers over here. I used to have an entire collection of Star Realms. I'm kind of tempted to get an entire one back. I really did enjoy Star Realms quite a bit, and it's a very solid, quick, accessible deck builder. Plays well at a variety of player counts, although 2 players is still my go-to. But yeah, I grabbed Star Realms so that I can potentially re-implement it into my collection, but at the very least to be able to introduce it and see how things go from there. Next up, we have... Why do I have Ark Nova in here? I know that's confusing to be like, why do I have Ark Nova? Why do I have Ark Nova in here? I have Ark Nova in this box, and I don't know why I have Ark Nova in here. This is interesting. I must have set this aside and forgotten about it, and you're like, wow, this guy forgot about Ark Nova. It's that I want Ark Nova. I just thought I had this on pre-order. Ark Nova's in here. Ark Nova, this looks like things are popping out a bit. I gotta be mindful of the storage here. Oh, this is gonna have to go through a storage. This is one of the downsides of used games. It looks like the insert popped out a bit while this is laying on its side, and this will need to go through a bit of a small re-implementation, a rehabilitation, as I get it all organized properly. So nothing's gonna go on top of this right now. We're gonna go ahead and put this off to the side. But Ark Nova. I have Ark Nova. Again, I don't know why I have it here. Did I pick it up for somebody else? Sometimes that happens. Like, I have at least one game in here that is for somebody else. I have a copy. We'll talk about it when it comes out. I'm trying to remember if I just forgot and grabbed Ark Nova by mistake. I know this is like confusing because this shouldn't happen, but I have a copy of Ark Nova apparently set off to the side for me, even though I have a copy on pre-order from Game Nerds, so I'll have to figure out what's going on with this one. Maybe a giveaway. We'll figure that out. I'm not going to announce a giveaway just yet because I need to make sure this wasn't a mistake first, or it wasn't somebody else's copy. I may have grabbed it for somebody else. But Ark Nova, a mistake. Not supposed to be here. I do want Ark Nova. I have a copy on the way, but my copy's coming from Game Nerds. This copy is a mistake. In any case, moving to the next one. Now the interesting part about it is as soon as we have a mistake, I now wonder what other mistakes we'll have. So, this is a fun one as well. This is a random little tidbit, but we have a drill set. And you're like, well, why do you have a drill set? This is not a board game. And you're like, well, actually, this is Pandasaurus's newest game, packed in a drill set. It looks like a drill... it's a drill set. It's really a drill set. I'm just making fun of the fact that Pandasaurus has a game that is a bag of chips, and I do not appreciate bags of chips as games. But basically, short version is we buy a lot of packing materials from a company called Uline. Uline does this thing where whenever you get an order, you get a free gift depending on the size of the order. Which means I have a variety of knickknacks that I tend to get from the warehouse of fun things to be sold around the house. More drill bit sets? Yes, absolutely. Do I need these? I mean, who doesn't say no to tools? Tools are always helpful. So this will go to the back room where it'll be part of our tool set, not part of our game collection. Then we have Oriflamme Ablaze. I had a chance to play Oriflamme and I really enjoyed it. As soon as that happened, when Oriflamme Ablaze showed up in the warehouse, I grabbed this as well. I still have Oriflamme, in fact, it replaced Citadels for me. And so when Oriflamme Ablaze showed up in the warehouse, I made sure to set this aside for myself because I definitely wanted to get my hands on this one, to implement it or to add it to my Oriflamme collection. The games I believe mixed together, you don't have to mix them together, but I believe they're mixed together if you want, or they operate as standalone. This is from Studio H from Machete Games, and I really enjoyed the quick-paced nature and backstabbery that Oriflamme gave me. To me, it gave me the gameplay feeling of Citadels, but it did so in a 20-minute long experience instead of a 45-minute long experience, which directly replaced Citadels for me. Now I just want the variety, which is why I have the expansion, so that we have more variety in my Oriflamme experience. Then we have Dominant Species Marine. Now, for those of you who know that I do not like Dominant Species, you might be wondering why do I have Dominant Species Marine? And the answer is because there are a bunch of games we're going to be going through today that are here specifically because of WSBG, the World Series of Board Gaming. Basically, I thought it would be fun that the World Series of Board Gaming, if you don't know, let's talk about it. The World Series of Board Gaming is an upcoming thing, September 28th, I believe, through like October 1st or 2nd. It's basically a competition in Vegas in which you can compete to win up to like $40,000 in prizes of cash money as you try to basically win your favorite board games and then win a variety of board games. And so the general idea of it is they have 16 games picked out, 16 games where you're going to be competing to enter those games, to win at those games. And what's going to happen is the winner of each game will go to the next round, and the winner of those games will go to the next round, and you'll have an ultimate winner left over at the end. And that winner doesn't get 40,000. I believe that winner gets 25,000. The rest are other cash prizes. We can talk about that. In any case, the point is, though, that I have played most of the games on those top 16, on those 16 games. I've played maybe 13 of those games offhand. And the remaining 3, I think I've actually played 14. I think I've played 14 of those games. The only 2 I have not played, I believe, are Dominant Species Marine, which I do not own, and Gaia Project, which I do own. I'm going to try to make it my goal to play those games, both Dominant Species Marine and Gaia Project, before we get a chance, before WSBG, which means I have 2 months, which should be plenty of time, to play those games, and I want to talk about those games. Well, first I want to be able to talk them at WSBG, but also I just want to play the games and cover them on my channel as well, which we'll get to shortly. So Dominant Species Marine is here because it is a shorter version of Dominant Species, which means I'll have to suffer through it less, or might even enjoy it. The suffer through it less was a bit obnoxious. I didn't love Dominant Species, unfortunately. Part of it was the length, but part of it was other factors. Dominant Species Marine may work for me, it may not work for me, but either way, I will play it, and I will talk about it. But we're not done yet, because we also have Splendor. Splendor is here for a similar reason, but not the exact same reason, because Splendor, you see, this is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to put a snappy around it. That keeps everything nice and secure so nothing falls apart. But Splendor is here for a similar reason, similar concept, except for one small difference. I have played Splendor, so why is Splendor here? Splendor, for the record, is one of the WSBG games that is available, and I've played it, so I don't know why it's upside down too. I don't know why it's here, and the answer is it's here because, there are a bunch should not have come off this quickly. It's here because of the fact that when I play through, oh, let me see, look at that. I was doing just fine until I pulled that off. But I have Splendor here because of the fact that my goal is not just to play the remaining games that I haven't played, but I thought it'd be fun that the week of WSBG, I hope to have reviews of every single WSBG game up for the ones that I have not yet reviewed. I've already reviewed, I think 2 or 3 of them. I've reviewed Dune Imperium. That's one of the WSBG games, and I have reviewed it. And I've reviewed 1 or 2 others. I don't remember which ones are on the list. I have not reviewed Terraforming Mars yet. I have not reviewed Blood Rage. I have not reviewed Seven Wonders. I have to go through the list and see what there is. I have not reviewed Carcassonne. I have not reviewed Catan. I don't know. I've reviewed 2 or 3 of the games from the WSBG list, and the rest of the remaining 13 or so, I either own or grabbed in this shipment to be able to fully review all of them before or during the competition. I thought it'd be a fun little thing to have on the channel, a review of each of those games. Which means you're going to see a few more of these as we go through it. But let's start with the next thingy. We have Ticket to Ride 1910. I'm hoping there's a box that comes with this. I'm really hoping there's a box that comes with this, because this is just the expansion to Ticket to Ride. I mean, I know I'm supposed to get this, but it's probably in here. We'll find out soon enough. We'll find out. We will talk about Ticket to Ride when we have the big box Ticket to Ride, if we have the big box Ticket to Ride. Is there a label on this? There's not. Okay, good. So practically speaking, if you see over here, we have a little barcode label showing Board Game Co. and a little barcode. That's a unique identifier in the warehouse. The fact that this has no barcode means it was in some way, shape, and form taped to the bigger box of Ticket to Ride, which means we do have Ticket to Ride coming. But from there, we have a few more things. We have Isle of Cats Explore and Draw. This is one that I had the chance to play with Professor Meg. Another game we had a chance to play played it with Devin Norris, with Devin Talks Tabletop, with Professor Meg, and then we played this over at Devin's house, and I really enjoyed this one. Meg brought it with her. She actually was one of the few games she actually traveled with, specifically because she wanted to show it to us, and I really enjoyed Isle of Cats Explore and Draw. To me, this game gave me all the same feelings that Isle of Cats gives me in general, all the positive feelings that Isle of Cats gave me, but it gives me those positive feelings without some of the extra clutter that I don't particularly enjoy as much in Isle of Cats. I thought Isle of Cats Explore and Draw was a better, faster version of Isle of Cats, and I really liked what it's doing. To me, this went from Isle of Cats is a game that I always wanted to keep, but then chose not to, and Isle of Cats Explore and Draw is an easy addition to my collection, giving me, it's easy. I like it a lot. Like, I really, really like it. I like it a lot. Hopefully it sticks around. I've only played it once, so my opinion can change after more than one play, but we'll see. One of the things it does well for a roll though, is that it has a high degree of variability because of the way they implement the scoring goals. I'm very impressed. We'll talk about it. I'll be playing it more, probably reviewing it. We'll talk about it. From there, we have Shards of Infinity. Shards of Infinity, a deck building game. Now this is here for the same reason that Star Realms is here, because it's another game. This game, Shards of Infinity, is directly comparable to Star Realms. It's directly comparable as far as the gameplay experience you're getting out of both games, and so to that end, I wanted to have the opportunity to try both again, to see whether I want either, both, or neither back in my collection, and or to just, you know, show Megan and see how she likes his ones. I think Shards of Infinity is basically Star Realms. I think there's no major difference between the two. I think it comes down to the ecosystem as a whole. There's a few expansions for both. I don't have the expansions for either right now. I guess technically Frontiers is an expansion, so there is that aspect, but we'll see. Basically, Shards of Infinity is here for the same trial period that Star Realms is here, and we'll see how they actually last and whether they stick with me, go home with Meg, or go off to someone else entirely. From there, we have a bunch of Terraforming Mars. Like a bunch of Terraforming Mars. We have Terraforming Mars, and Terraforming Mars, and Terraforming Mars, and Terraforming Mars. We're going through this over here 1 second. We're almost done. We have more Terraforming Mars. We have some more Terraforming Mars. Terraforming Mars all the way over here, and I'm assuming there'll be a box in here. The reason for that, the base game box. The reason for that Terraforming Mars stuff is because I have a friend who loves Terraforming Mars. He adores Terraforming Mars, and he asked me how much would it cost to get a bunch of Terraforming Mars stuff from me. And I was like, you know what? I have a bunch of Terraforming Mars options in my collection, in my Board Game Co. collection, and I'll go ahead and give you whatever, you know, you just pick a bundle, and I'll just give it to you for like 40 bucks. Like, I don't really care. It's one of those weird balances with friends. With friends, I always want to give them things, but if you just give, then, you know, potentially too much can be given, I guess. You kind of want to introduce some sort of barrier. And so I basically introduced the barrier of, hey, $40 and pick a collection, it's all yours, just for like a token fee, so to speak, but pick whatever you want. And so he got a big collection full of all the expansions, full of promos, full of all these things. I think it's like most, if not all, of the content. It's not the big box. But yeah, he'll be diving into that because he really likes Terraforming Mars. Although, honestly, I love Terraforming Mars. Love it. Colonies I don't really play with. Turmoil I don't play with. Venus Next I haven't played with yet. I need to see how it goes. Prelude I love. Hellas and Elysium I love. To me, Terraforming Mars is an amazing game. And some of the expansions have been, okay, I do or don't need you added in. From there we have three left in this box. We have Trek 12 from Pandasaurus Games. Another roll and write. This one I have not played. Trek 12 is going to be a roll and write adventure through the Himalayas with your friends, grabbing your stuff and marking off little circles as you move up the maps, a few different maps in the game. It's from Pandasaurus Games, and it's a roll and write game, which means I'm already interested because Pandasaurus puts out good games, and it's a roll and write game, and I like roll and writes generally. I don't necessarily always love roll and writes, but I do like them and try them out. There's going to be a few different game modes in this game, and the art looks great, the game looks great, I'm intrigued by the game, I've seen it at conventions, constantly wanted to pick it up, had self-control, saw it come into the collection at the warehouse, and and was like, well, self-control only applies so far, and if we have it at the warehouse, I'm going to grab a copy for myself, and so Trek 12 is a game I will hopefully be playing soon. Then we have Coimbra, the dice box, or in some way, shape, or form. I don't even know what's really in here. Coimbra. We have Coimbra, the dice box. I do know what's in here. It's Coimbra, the dice box. We have dice and tokens. I don't even know what this is for. 4 wooden bells set up. This is just stuff to add to Coimbra. Now, I love Coimbra in general. Coimbra is one of my favorite Euros, and it's one that I'm happy to have this dice box, even though there's like 4 dice, 4 wooden bells, in a way too large box, unnecessarily large, and then a rulebook, which is the largest part necessary. We have Coimbra the dice box, something to add to Coimbra in some way, shape, or form. I have like Raja the Ganj as well. I have these goodie boxes. Sometimes I get expansions knowing what they do. Other times I just get them because I like the game. This is one of those latter times. And then lastly in this box, we have Caesar. Caesar, Palomari Caesar. This is one I have to introduce to my wife because we love Blitzkrieg. We generally really enjoy Blitzkrieg. We've liked it a lot ever since we first played it, and well, that's not entirely true. I've liked it a lot since I first played it. My wife liked it since her second game. Her first game she actually was not interested in at all, didn't want to play it again, and now she really likes it and wants to only play it again. Now, the way she works, I'm assuming she'll play Caesar and say, I like Blitzkrieg more. Then I'm assuming she'll play Caesar again and be like, actually, it's not bad. Then I'm assuming she'll play Caesar again and be like, actually, I like Caesar more. That's my prediction. She may or may not watch this video, so she'll know potentially. We'll see. I'll have to get this played. I guess this video probably is a week before it goes up anyway, so I'll probably have to get this played 3 times the next week and let you know how that goes. If I do, I'll pin a comment. But yeah, I'm looking. Will I play Caesar? It's not going to happen the next week. This next week is going to be very, very busy. We'll see. We'll see. Whenever this happens, this is Caesar. It is the next iteration of Blitzkrieg, giving you the same basic system, but done so in a way that is equally rewarding. For me, I prefer it. I think there's a little bit more interesting double think going on in this game as you play through it. But overall, both of them are very solid games. And that is the end of box 1. Just make sure. Yep, that's the end of box 1. Which brings us to box 2. We're going to put Ark Nova down to the side so we can actually open this up. And then we'll go ahead and open this up, shockingly enough. Okay. We're going to go ahead and open this. This is where I'm going to probably have to stand up a bit because this is going to have to happen. We're going to go ahead. And then we're going to have to put this on the floor again. So Knife's going to be back down. Other box number 1 is going to be pushed off all the way to the edge. And box goes on floor. Let's see how this goes. Give me 1 second here. Okay. I didn't fully think out the whole box thing as I was doing it. I just kind of did it, and also need to make sure I don't get that coffee on the way down. So, we have another box on the floor over here. Let's go through this, open this up, and see what we got. So first and foremost, we have Catan. This is here so I could review Catan. Why do I want to review Catan? Because it's one of the WSBG games, and I've never reviewed Catan. And I'll probably play it before I review it because it is a fun game. So Catan's going to be over here. This one's going to be getting played, likely, because why not? And even if it doesn't get played, I've played it 50 million times. It's not true. Probably less than 50 million. But this is probably the game that I've played the single most times if you count playing it online. I have played Catan hundreds of times online. Hundreds and hundreds. And I've really, really enjoyed it. It's a game I eventually moved on from. But it's a game that I don't mind having it back and seeing how it settles. But I definitely want to review and cover this one for WSBG. And perhaps play it at the same time. We'll see. Then we have a few more in that vein. We have Wingspan with an expansion box. We'll talk about it when we get the actual box coming out here. We have the copy of Terraforming Mars that I knew we had over here. Whoa. We have Terraforming Mars with a very broken box over here. But Terraforming Mars, which is the copy my friend will be getting over here. This is just the base game of Terraforming Mars with all the various things over here. We'll go ahead and put that off to the side. Then we have, what else do we have? We have, give me a second here. We have Wingspan. Wingspan is going to be for the same reason as, well, we talked about this already. Wingspan is one of the games in the World Series of Board Gaming. I do have a video comparing Wingspan to Everdell, and to that end, I debated whether I needed another review of Wingspan, but the review of Wingspan to Everdell was more of a, it wasn't really a full comparison and review, it was more of a here's why Everdell is better debate video that I had with Quackalope, and so I felt that giving Wingspan a proper full review would be nice, and so I have Wingspan back to give it a full review. I have the expansion because the only copy I had in my collection came bundled with the expansion, so I had no choice. Then we have Ticket to Ride. Ticket to Ride, which is another WSBG game that I'd like to review. So another one of these being added over here. And then we have Great Western Trail. which is another WSBG game that I want to review. This is going to be the third time that Great Western Trail is back in my collection. To be fair, that's true for Ticket to Wingspan as well. It's also the third time it's back in my collection. Ticket to Ride came in, stuck around for like 8 years, not that 8 years, stuck around for like 5 years and then left, but didn't come back. But Wingspan and Great Western Trail, both of them being the third time they're back here, technically. I don't know if it really counts in that sense. Then we have The Loop. The Loop from Pandasaurus Games, that, like Trek 12, has been on my list of games that I want to try because I've heard good things about it. In general, when games come out, I kind of put them on a bit of a mental waiting list, depending. If I'm reviewing them, it's one thing. If I'm covering them right away, it's one thing. But if I'm not, they go on a mental waiting list where I kind of wait to see how audience perception is, how the general community perception is of the game when you're talking about, you know, a year or 2 years down the road. The Loop has managed to hold strong. It's holding on to a 7.8 rating on Board Game Geek. It's a cooperative game, which is a genre I like. And so far, from everything I've seen, this is a well-liked game that has a unique enough implementation that I'm very curious to see how it does. So, and they have an expansion coming out too. So I figured now's as good a time as any to get it played, especially with the warehouse closing up shop and all that. I specifically held off getting it for a while, but this was the time I finally caved. And then lastly, lastly in the box, we have Stardew Valley. Stardew Valley is the last game in this box, which also needs its box put on top. But this is one that, again, I've heard good things about after it came out. Continue to hear good things about this one. And it got added to my list as a game that I wanted to try at some point when I had the chance. And now is finally that chance. And so Stardew Valley, not on WSBG's list, unfortunately, but a game that I hope to play and try out as soon as I have a chance. And that's what I have over here. That's my Board Game Co. haul of games that I got. A bunch of things to review, a bunch of things to share with others, and a bunch of games that I'm personally interested in. This might be the last box I ever get from the warehouse. It depends. We'll have to see. But warehouse is going through the whole process of closing down, although all the things might happen. We'll see. I'm not entirely sure. Either way, that's the Board Game Co. unboxing. Figured it'd be fun to go through a box and just see what's in there and what I got and why and all that stuff. And until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. and I hope you have a good one.